Welcome back. Our aerial coverage provided to you by Goodyear. Track tested technology. Get there on Goodyear Innovation. It's a beautiful shot of this just over half-mile racetrack. You see the trucks beginning to roll.
Look at everybody that shows up, Bill. You got all these haulers in the infield, and then the crowd is just the campers, the cars, people drive here. They just take up this whole area. I love it.
It's an event. You know, this is not just a race, it's an event.
Our starting grid's going to roll across the bottom for the Kroger 200. Again, Jack Sprague will take the pole position for the 31st time in his career. We want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers today. We're going to start with Bob Dillner. Who have you got in your spotlight, Bob?
I have Colin Brown making his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series start in the Roush Racing number 50. Now, he's a road racer by trade from the Grand Am Series, but he's getting the knack of this oval racing thing too. In 3 ARCA REMAX Series starts, he has 3 top 10 finishes, but he's getting pretty good here at Martinsville too, and that is because he's a good road racer. Crew Chief John Quinn says because he's a good road racer, it has helped him with the tight confines of Martinsville and this tight paperclip. Adam Alexander.
Welcome to NASCAR. Michael McDowell rolling off 29th today in the 17 truck. He was an open wheel guy who came over to stock cars this season, second in the ARCA Series points. He led in 18 of 23 events, 9 poles. And when I talked to him yesterday about his ARCA season, he said, yeah, I won 4 times. And to be quite honest with you, I should have won 8. He's a competitor, and that means he's probably going to be a pretty dang good race car driver. Michael Waltrip?
I like the way that truck looks, Bill. That Napa truck looks good. I'm looking at Dario Franchitti, Bill. This cat has done it all in open wheel racing. He's the winningest British-born road racer, IndyCar racer in our country ever in the history of the world. He's won the Indy 500, won the championship, but now he's in a whole new ball game. I think it's going to be so fun to watch this champion learn how to mix it up with guys that he's never even heard of before.
I'm going to take a look at that number 71 truck of Hermie Saddle. You see speed on the quarter panel there. You know, we'd usually see Hermie on race day and driving speed 1, but he's going to step in this truck here for Andy Hillenberg and give this thing a ride. And Hermie's the former Busch Series Rookie of the Year, 2-time winner in the Busch Series. And let's see if we can talk to Hermie right now. Hey, Hermie Sadler, Phil Parsons up in the booth. Can you hear me, buddy?
I got you, Philzy. What's going on up there?
Well, me and Rick and Mikey are just hanging out up here, going to watch you a little bit. Hey, we know that we see you driving Speed 1 every weekend, but it's been a while since you've been in a race truck.
Been since 2000, and thanks to Speed 1, helped keep some of the rust off, and we were able to get Andy Hillenberg's truck in this field. It was the biggest field they've had all year, and I love Martinsville, so looking forward to having some fun today.
Hermie, you've had some good experience here. You've run the Busch Series here 3 or 4 times, and some Cup experience, and your best career finish in what few Truck Series starts you've had was here with a 5th place finish.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, Phil, in 1995, but we're having a little bit of fun today. I want to thank my friends at Charles Boyd Chevrolet that are watching, and Anchordale, and all the speed guys, and Race Day. You can watch Race Day tomorrow and watch that Speed 1 car on the racetrack. But just looking forward to getting out here, having a good time. This is a great series. It's going to be a great race, and hopefully I can provide a little bit more fun for the folks today.
All right, buddy, we're going to keep an eye on you. Good luck.
Okay, y'all have fun, and tell Mikey I had forgotten how grueling this qualifying was. I don't want to do that again for a while.
All right, duly noted.
Hermie was just talking about the schedule. Later on today, ALMS Laguna Seca taking place at 5:30, and then we round out the evening 10 o'clock. NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown in all those times Eastern, and a lot of exciting racing continuing right here on Speed. We continue with our onboards. We're going to ride along with 3rd in the points chase for the Nextel Cup. That's Clint Boyer. He'll start in the 16th position today in one of Kevin Harvick's trucks.
We're also going to ride along with a Martinsville Master right there. There's Dennis Setzer, the Fastenal Dodge for Bobby Hamilton Racing, starting 13th. But Dennis Setzer won this race from 33rd, so you can never count this guy out at Martinsville.
Riding along with Jason Leffler, starting 8th, and Phil, he's just a fast cat. Everything he gets in, he hauls with it. So it'll be fun to watch him in this one truck. That's a very good truck. I'm looking forward to seeing if he can pull off a win.
Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
And Rick, today is the 6th and final short track race of 2007 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. In the first 5 races, we've had 5 different winners. It all started here in the spring when Mike Skinner went to Victory Lane. Then we went to Mansfield. That's where Dennis Setzer had the opportunity to pick up the win. O'Reilly Raceway Park was Ron Hornaday. You can look at some of the other winners this year. Johnny Benson, a winner at Bristol, and Travis Quapple, a winner at Memphis. Can we make it 6 for 6 today? Well, you would certainly think so. The guy that leads us to the green, Jack Sprague, in the same truck that he went to Victory Lane with here 1 year ago. Bob?
Jacques Villeneuve makes his first ever Martinsville start here today, but he's not the first Jacques Villeneuve to ever race here at Martinsville. Back in the 80s, Jacques' uncle, also named Jacques, ran a NASCAR modified race here at Martinsville. Jacques, the uncle, didn't fare well that day, but Jacques, the former F1 champ, is hoping for a good run here today at Martinsville.
Here they come out of turn number 4. The green flag about to fly in the Kroger 200. It's Jack Sprague, Matt Craftsman making up row number 1, and we're underway.
These trucks might be a little tricky to drive early on. As low as 8 pounds of air pressure in the left side tires, Mikey.
And that just makes it very difficult to get off to a smooth start, Phil. The thing's wanting to go straight when you get to the corners. But as those tire pressures come up, they pass the point where they're at their optimum pressure. They'll go higher. So you have to keep them low at the start to try to make your truck be good on the long run. We've heard a lot of people talk about not ever putting tires on, just get a little gas, or maybe not even stop at all. So these air pressures are especially low today.
One of the big variables today will be how many cautions and how many pace laps or caution laps we're going to see, because this being a shortened race, just 200 laps, some people think they can make it if there are enough caution laps.
See Rick Crawford trying to drive up in the inside of that 09 of Joey Clinton. The average number of caution laps for this race, the 200 lapper, is 52. That's the average.
Well, they've run a few more here to get. Usually, you know, on the start, everybody trying to get on the bottom, you'll see a caution early, but although we do have trucks still side by side, they've strung out pretty good.
Michael, they were listening to you. You said the word patience earlier, and obviously people are using a little patience to start this race.
But do you remember what I told you at Talladega? The helmet cuts off circulation to the brain, and everything you tell them goes out the window as soon as they say go.
There's Dennis Setzer right there, the Fastenal Dodge on the inside. Chad Chaffin on the outside. The Key Motorsports, number 40.
Those two battling for a 13th place position right now. Chaffin going across the start-finish line just in front of Dennis Setzer, but Setzer with the preferred line on the inside.
You see the Westerman companies on board. Curtis Keys, Chevrolet, good run last time out at Talladega Super Speedway, finished in the top 10 for Chad Chaffin in that 40 truck.
Dennis Setzer's last 2 finishes, 7th at Vegas, 5th at Talladega. That's his first back-to-back top 10 finishes since last summer.
Dennis gets a little sideways there through the center of the corner. That means that truck is really over-rotating right now.
And you see what happens. He was making the pass. He had about had the 40 cleared. Gets a little bit sideways. All of a sudden, he's got to deal with the 2 truck. Clint Warrior's all over him, wanting that spot. There's no room to hide at Martinsville.
The crew chiefs that I was talking to before this race mentioned, depending upon when that first caution comes out, what they would do at the stop. If it came out at, say, lap 10.
A little contact right there. Mike Bliss moves the 09 out of the way.
Joey Clanton already having to get out of the way, but if it came out early, they'd only do fuel when they came into stop. If it came out a little later, maybe left side tire. A little bit later than that, maybe only right side tire.
Yeah, some of these trucks and crew chiefs were talking about stopping as early as 5 laps into this race, because remember, they had essentially 4 laps of fuel burnout during qualifying and then 5 pace laps, so they're behind 6-7 laps when we start this race.
Did anybody tell you down in the garage area, Phil, we can make it? We know we can. We know that the cautions will come, and we're going for it.
No. Several people have said they're going to try to make it.
Take a look at this. The bumping early on, Joey Clanton.
See, Mike Bliss is going to drive down to the inside. Joey's going to come down there. Mike's going to make just a little bit of contact. He had the nose there. The important thing was Mike Bliss didn't hit the curb. He didn't try to drive away from that 09 and hit the curb, because that just would have made the situation worse.
And let me tell you what that's about right now. Back in the 80s, you drive down in a corner, you have a quarter of a fender in on Buddy Baker and run into him, you better hide after the race. He would whoop your rear end. Nowadays, with spotters up on top, somebody thinks if they just get in the edge of a guy, then it's their spot. They just take it.
Jack Sprague, when they were talking about him in practice yesterday, he was the fastest truck, and they were hoping to be able to hold on. Well, he's showing it here at the start of this race. Tonight, don't miss the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown at Irwindale. This special event has become the pinnacle of short track racing, bringing together the top drivers from the NASCAR Grand National Division from all across the nation. The 5th edition of the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown will be live tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed, Phil.
Yeah, Sean Case and Joey Logano, second and first in Busch East points, will be on the front row for that race tonight. 250 lapper.
But they're going to have to deal with Brian Eichler. That little kid can go. He's driving the Napa car, and Bill McAnally just knows how to win championships and races.
Starting 5th.
He's going to be a force tonight.
A lot of great racing taking place here on Speed today. We've got a very tight pit road today. We've added a 3rd pit reporter, and obviously everyone knows her. It's Krista Voda. Krista?
Guys, there was no way I was going to miss this race. I was here on pit road in the spring, and especially with big names like Dario Franchitti working this track. I talked to him earlier today, and I said, what's the biggest adjustment to the open wheel cars and having the fenders? He said, it's where to work your lap. He said, in open wheels, I really work the car on the entry. Stock cars, I have to work it on the exit. His crew chief Ryan Patty just told him we're very good in 3 and 4. Adam?
And the big question in the garage area today among crew chiefs was pit or not to pit. Our leader, Jack Sprague, who sat on the pole, his crew chief is Tony Furr. When I talked to Tony in the garage this morning, I said, what lap are you thinking about coming in? He said, who's pitting? And then at the end of qualifying, after they had won the pole, the crew indicated they would sink or swim together. Perhaps track position important enough that once you're out front, there's no need to come down pit road and take a chance on losing the lead, Bob.
Adam, you are right. That is the question up and down pit road. 23 laps into this very first run. As you see Todd Bodine bumping the back of the 07 there of Tim Sauter. The question is when to pit. Everybody I spoke to on my end of pit road says lap 30 is the key lap. If we can get a caution from lap 30 on, then we could probably go the rest of the way. But guys up in the booth, I got to spin in turn 2. We'll get back to that in a second.
Sure enough, Brian Scott gets turned around in turn number 2. That will bring out our first caution, and it is closing in on that lap 30 that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think everybody would like to get to lap 30 like Bob was talking about, but they're going to come in now.
Yeah.
The ones that were going to try to get to 30, they're going to say, close enough.
And you know, the guys that said we'll get those 50, 60 laps of caution and we're going to go the whole way, they're scratching their head right now. They're like, we didn't really see 25 getting rolled
They're
off.
shocked. They're shocked that we've gone this far without a caution flag.
Yeah, a lot of green flag laps early on in this race here at Martinsville. It's a short track race, and we always see a lot of bumping and banging. We have seen a lot of moving other drivers out of the way up to this point, but it hasn't turned anyone around until we've seen Brian Scott get turned around this first time.
Been all incidental contact till that one right there with Brian Scott, the 16. Strutmasters Ford.
The field being picked up by the pace truck now. Randy Kaiser will set the pace, and we'll see if it is open. Pit road is open, the green flag waving, and here they come onto pit road.
Well, there's that 60 truck that was not going to pit under any circumstances, and he leads them down pit road.
Those first 23 laps under green best everybody up.
Well, here comes the strategy, though. Do you do just fuel only? Do you do 2 tires? Does somebody do 4 tires? That's the question. Krista Voda.
Here comes the number 2 of Clint Boyer. He said, this truck is pathetic. Tighten me up. I'm loose in the middle. 1 round down on the track bar and fuel only for Clint. Bob.
Championship leader Ron Hornaday coming down pit road right now. He said his truck is expletive tight right now. They're going to do a fuel only stop here and a minor adjustment for the chassis. Adam?
3 off, fuel only for leader Jack Sprague. He has made his pit stop, and he won the battle off of pit road. No tires for Jack Sprague, the pole sitter.
I can't imagine needing tires right now. We've only run 25 laps. I think gas only is what you got to do right there.
You know, we've had so many guys talk about staying out, running this whole race. We've had 2 trucks stay on the racetrack. The 59 of Terry Cook and the 29 of Scott Lynch were the only 2 trucks that did not pit on this caution flag.
More than likely, they will try to go the entire race without stopping. We'll be right back.
Want speed in HD? Switch to DirecTV.
Welcome back. Just back under green flag conditions here at Martinsville Speedway. Out in front of the field, it's the 59 of Terry Cook. He stayed on the racetrack, as did the 29 of Scott Lynch.
Brendan Gaughan, the 77 truck, made a late pit stop, so he is just now in front of our leader, Terry Cook, trying to stay on the lead lap. There are 2 teammates right there, both Flanders Beef Patty Chevrolets out of the Billy Ballou stable. 15 on the inside, Denny Hamlin. The 51 on the outside, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was the guy that was on the move. Started way back in the 25th position and gained about 7-8 spots before the caution flag came out.
You know, at Martinsville, the reason why a wreck happens is the accordion effect. One guy slows down a little bit. Check this out, Bill. 88's on the inside of the 09. He taps him. He gets into the one. That's a chain reaction, and they pile up behind him, stack in behind him, too.
There's another one here. Watch the 09 coming off the corner there. Gets shoved in the wall. Looks like by the 4 of Mike Bliss.
You know, back in the day, if you crowded somebody into the wall, you would turn into the wall too. But now it just seems like the guy that's getting past,
trouble right there.
We got problems with Scott Lynch in the 29. He gets turned around in turns 3 and 4. That brings out our second caution.
He got turned around by the lap truck of Brian Scott. Brian was trying to get by. Scott was running in the second position. The 16 was trying to get by him. Unfortunately, that turned Scott around. Now will the 16 get the lucky dog? He essentially caused the caution flag. He does get the lucky dog.
Well, we'll see if we can put that under review or not.
We'll be right back. For the first time in over 20 years, 3 drivers will fight it out for F1's ultimate prize, the F1 World Championship. McLaren's rookie driver, Lewis Hamilton, is the points leader by 4 over his teammate, Fernando Alonso, and 7 ahead of Ferrari's Kimi Räikkönen. Can Lewis Hamilton stay on track to become the first rookie to win the world title?
And the youngest driver ever at 22 years old.
Make sure to stay tuned. Tomorrow live, 11:30 a.m. Eastern, is that race, the Brazilian Grand Prix. This is why we're under caution.
Just a meeting of the trucks down there in 3 and 4.
The 29 did not want to give way to the 16, knowing what was behind him, so he tried to cut him off a little bit, and it didn't work out so well.
Back underway as they come out of 4. Green flag back in the air. And again, it's Terry Cook who stayed on the racetrack. Here comes Jack Sprague to the inside. Not enough horsepower to beat him into turn number 1. They'll stay nose to tail.
You know what's really interesting? We were talking during the break. Terry Cook was able to drive away from that 60 truck of Jack Sprague. Obviously, Terry has not made a pit stop. Jack did make a pit stop, put a little fuel in that truck, but Terry Cook is able to maintain the speed and actually drove away from Jack Sprague.
The one thing Terry Cook has to factor into his hopes of winning this race is more cautions.
But you can see, Phil, these guys are all over each other.
A couple Nextel Cup competitors right there. Clint Boyer, the 2 on the inside. Caution flag is out. We're hearing debris on the racetrack.
That came from Denny Hamlin's truck, I believe, Phil, on the lap before. He and Boyer and Johnny Benson all got tangled up coming off turn 2. Check this out.
Look at the splitter's missing on the right front corner.
You want to know how that happens? Watch this. You can't go 3 wide at Martinsville. And see the splitter?
Yep, the splitter slid off there over there in turn 2, looked like.
I was kind of hoping they'd let it lay there because we're going to have another caution. We can just pick it up later. But Terry Cook's saying, oh, no, we got debris off too. We better get it.
Yeah, we need about 50 caution laps, so let's go ahead and get those. You see the damage right there. And I'll tell you, this is probably the slowest racetrack we run, or very close to the slowest, maybe in addition to Mansfield. But Denny Hamlin may realize that splitter is gone from the right front. He may rely on that splitter for downforce, so that may affect the handling of that truck.
If you look back to 1991 and see the car that Harry Gant drove to victory lane here that day, and when he got in a wreck early in the race, it didn't even have a nose on it, and he was able to win. You would say, there's no way that could bother that truck, but it can these days.
Adam Alexander, is he going to be bothered by this?
Well, appears not. They talked about the damage in the right front that you guys spoke of, said they didn't think it would hurt the truck too bad. He's planning to stay on the racetrack. Then he came back and said, man, the 23 needs to give me some room. It is tight out here. So Hamlin obviously looking for a little bit more room to race on the racetrack. And then when you talk about Todd Bodine, ill-handling race truck. He started 23rd today, got into the top 20, right side tires on that first stop when they came in at lap 26. They were back outside the top 30, so they came in again at lap 36, and here they are once again. They're going to put right side tires on it and continue to adjust, and we're hearing the same thing we typically hear here at Martinsville, Krista, make me turn better in the center of the corner.
That's right, Adam. And you know, Clint Boyer is in this race because he's trying to get some seat time and learn some things for his Cup race tomorrow. He is not learning anything he wants to use. In fact, his last words on the radio, this truck is pathetic. This is embarrassing. He said the adjustment they made when they stopped back on lap 24, it didn't help. He is tight in the center, but they said you can't come in or we're going to be a dead duck. Bob?
Krista, this is just what the doctor ordered for a lot of these guys who pitted on lap 25. But the problem is, I spoke to Johnny Benson in the 23. He was just involved in that incident. And he told me even if they pitted at lap 30, they would still need 52 laps of caution. So we got a caution here. Every lap counts towards that goal. But guys, if we do get a long green flag run, we could still see some more pit stops at the end of this day. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if these guys are going to give up the track position towards the end of this race. That's why Clint Boyer right now, he doesn't like the way his truck is driving. Right, he's being shown in the 15th position. There's 34 trucks on the league lap, and he doesn't want to give up that track position as bad as his truck is.
Well, you know, when they came in at 25, they pretty much made their bed that they plan on laying in. Now, we saw that we've seen it a couple times when we don't think a guy can pit, but he comes back and makes it interesting. But darn, with so many competitive trucks here at Martinsville, and it's so hard to pass, I don't think it can happen today.
Chris Jones is the benefactor of the Aaron's Lucky Dog. He'll get a lap back. They are about to restart as they come out of turn number 4. Again, it's Terry Cook and the number 59 out in front of the field. Green flag back in the air. Three cautions now. Brian Scott brought out our first one, then it was Scott Lynch, the second caution that came out, and our most recent caution was debris at lap 44.
And from that 15 truck of Denny Hamlin, then he stayed on the racetrack. Then he's being shown in the 16th position right now. Pretty much single file racing all the way around the racetrack so far.
And now side by side, it's Joey Clanton on the inside of Rick Crawford. They drag race down this long back straightaway. And David Starr moves to the inside of Clanton, taking that position away following his teammate.
There's a whole lot of people right behind David Starr that thanked him for that. They thought if they got him rooted up to the top, they could all go underneath Clanton, but darn, he made a good turn there, didn't he, Phil?
Sure did. There's Jason Leffler right there. He's going to
we got a spinner in turn 2.
That spin in 2 is Clint Boyer. The problems continuing for Boyer in that number 2
No
Chevrolet.
caution yet.
No caution yet.
He hasn't moved either. No, he's going now.
Backing up. He's in the line of traffic, but he's able to get it fired up, and he continues on. Our leader goes by him.
Yeah, tough break for Clint Boyer right there, not being able to get the caution flag. Now he's going to want to stay just about where he is. He does not want to let that 09, who is the only other truck right now, not on the lead lap. He has to stay away ahead of him, and he will get the lucky dog next caution.
He'll also get his wish. He'll be able to come to pit road and work on that.
He's definitely going to be able to do that, yes.
Take a look at what happened to Clint Boyer in that number 2.
You see him right there on the inside. He's going to make a little bit of contact with Johnny Benson, and then the 15 of Denny Hamlin just touches the back of that truck, and around he goes.
Right along with Clint.
He looks to the inside of Johnny. Johnny actually closes the door a little bit. Then I think Clint hit the brakes a little bit to avoid hitting Johnny, and then he got in turn run into by Denny Hamlin.
If I remember correctly, he was making a comment earlier. He needed some more room, or someone else needed. Denny Hamlin needed some more room from Johnny Benson, and now Clint Boyer needing a little more room.
Well, I'm going to have to defend Johnny on that one, because on the other side of Johnny was Kyle Busch, and they made a sandwich out of Johnny. He just was trying to get through the turn.
Jason Leffler making the pass on Matt Crafton, so Leffler takes 7th away from Crafton.
You watch the hands work on Matt Crafton there off this onboard from Jason Leffler. Tight turn here. A lot of movement on the steering wheel. I have to really turn that steering wheel. Look at Ron Hornaday. What is he doing down there?
I saw, check when he gets to the corner. They get about 3 wide again. Bliss had the same issue. Hornaday got turned a little bit sideways, and Bliss had to check up and got hit, and they all about piled up on the front straightaway.
Remember, that's our points leader, Ron Hornaday, just 14 points in front of Mike Skinner coming into this race. Bob Dillner.
But here's the problem with Ron Hornaday's truck. It turned very well there, but on a normal basis, it's not turning too well. In fact, Ron says it just won't rotate the right rear, and that it feels like it's running on 2 tires. Michael, that must be a frustrating feeling.
Yeah, because the guys you're racing got 4, and that's the recipe for getting lapped or not being able to do the job you want to do.
Battle for 3rd here. Travis Quapple on the outside, that K&N Ford on the inside, the Toyota Tundra. Mike Skinner making the pass.
Mike was able to work him on the inside there. Got underneath. Travis was able to make that pass. Terry Cook still leading this race with about a half a second lead on Jack Sprague.
Only 2 trucks have been in front of the field today, Jack Sprague and Terry Cook. Terry Cook has now led 32 laps of this race. Fourth caution flag of the day just coming out. You see Regan Smith, and the other truck is Johnny Benson bringing out the 4th caution today, and a lot of damage to both trucks.
Yeah, you see all the damage to the left front tire flat on Johnny Benson's truck, and worse for him, our leader was able to get by before Johnny was able to get back under speed. So he is 1 lap down now with a lot of damage. Johnny's going to make his way to pit road. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened over there in turn number 1.
And this just taking place.
Denny Hamlin had gotten under the 47 the lap before, Phil, and I think Johnny was trying to follow suit, and just Regan, he watched Regan give Denny room to get in the corner, and I guess he assumed he was going to give him room, and it just didn't happen that way. Yeah. Let's go down to Bob. Bob.
Johnny Benson on pit road. A lot of damage to the left side sheet metal on that truck. 2 flat tires as well. Johnny Benson said the truck is just way too tight in the center of the corner and way too loose coming up off. So Johnny Benson, you can hear the dejection on his voice right now, but they're going to try to make sure the tires are clear of the fenders and get him back out on the track, guys.
So they're cutting the fenders off of the 23 Toyota Tundra. It's still Terry Cook out in front of this field. We'll be back with more racing after this.
The Ford F-150 has massive lower front control arms and rear shock absorbers mounted outside the frame rails, giving it the highest available payload in its class, and giving you unbelievable handling and control. Now that's forward thinking.
So it covers NASCAR like NASCAR on speed. Friday, tune in all weekend long as we deliver live coverage from Atlanta. Get all the on and off track action with NASCAR on speed beginning Friday 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That's live and only on speed. Our Aaron's lucky dog, this time going to the 08 of Chris Jones once again.
Tough break for Boyer. They had just lapped the 08, put him a lap down, and that took the lucky dog away from Clint.
Thought he was in perfect position for that.
Talk about a good Fastenal fast start. How about our race leader, Terry Cook? Our Fastenal fast start going to him. He started 24th, stayed on the racetrack when everybody else pitted.
I like the fact that they had a plan. Danny Rollins, his crew chief, and Terry Cook had a plan. We're not going to stop. We're going to stay out. It hurt him a little bit qualifying back as far as it did, but once everybody came to pit road, he stayed out. Didn't matter anymore. He's got the lead.
Last race here, we had 12 cautions. Well, we've already had 4 up to this point, Adam.
And in talking to Danny Rollins before the race today, we'd had that same conversation about do you pit or not pit, and he said, you know what? I really feel like regardless of where we qualified, we have to stay out and not come down pit road. That's how we practice the truck. We've set it up to make sure we get as good a fuel mileage as possible. The bet is laid now. Terry Cook leading the race, Bob.
Well, Adam, let's talk about our open wheelers just a little bit here. Jacques Villeneuve having a very nice race so far. He is currently 16th, started 27th. And right now it's a little bit more of a coaching thing on the radio between him and the team. They're saying, hey, keep smart, watch your line, don't push it. And that's exactly what Jacques Villeneuve is doing as we go green once again, Krista.
Giving you guys an update on Dario Franchitti. He said the truck is coming back to him. He said if he waits on it, it gets better on exit. Remember at the start of the show, that's what I talked about. He said he has to work these stock cars and these stock trucks on the exit. That is what he's not used to in open wheel. So right now he's doing exactly what the team wants him to do, getting experience and learning how to adjust, especially on the exit.
Oh, problems now for Jason Leffler in that number 1. He gets turned around and rolling back into traffic. Very close there for Clay Rogers in the 75.
Yeah, Clay was on the outside. He really didn't have any choice but to go around the outside of Jason Leffler and just barely avoided him.
Jason Leffler let that truck roll down the track, hoping that he could get going again, Phil, if the caution didn't fly, and it almost cost him his tailgate.
Take another look at what happened here. A little earlier in this race, Matt Crafton was moved out of the way by Leffler, and maybe Crafton paying him back.
Well, they definitely made contact here. There's no question about that. And Matt just basically ran into the back of him, so it really wasn't. But watch Jason Leffler, you're talking about, kept rolling down the hill. Brendan Gaughan did a nice job of just squeezing down to the inside by him.
Well, when you move people out of the way and they catch you back, you got to be ready for it. I mean, Matt wasn't in there at all, but evidently he didn't feel like Jason was up on him when he spun him out or knocked him out of the way either.
He kind of remembered what happened earlier. Let's see if we can talk to our man Hermie Sadler and see how his race is going. Hey, Hermie Sadler, Phil Parsons. You got me, buddy?
Millsy, what's going on?
Not much. We're just out here watching you guys. You got a break. Got the Aaron's lucky dog here earlier and stayed in the lead lap. How's that truck?
A little bit tight right now, Phil. We're trying to fight the same old short track stuff, trying to get it to turn good in the center and not lose the forward fight. So, boys are working hard on it. We'll keep messing with it here, and we're going to stick out, try to get a little bit of track position right here to try to stay ahead of these guys and make one more stab at it here after we get 100 laps in.
How do you think? How's the track today, Hermie?
Got a lot of grip, Phil. Mighty racy. I've been up on the top side a couple times and tried to work the bottom a couple times as well. So it's not the racetrack's fault. We just got to catch up to it a little bit.
All right, we'll be watching, bud. Good luck.
All right, man. Thank you.
I can't explain it to you, Phil, and you know how difficult it is to be a guy like Hermie. Hadn't raced in a while, and then just get out there with the best in the world in a truck and try to just get right up to speed. It's nearly impossible to do.
You know, we talk about it all the time, talk about these guys and the difference between maybe Jack Sprague and some of the guys that are struggling out there, but there are really only about 90 to 100 jobs in America for what we do. If you talk about the Cup level, the Busch level, and the truck level, and there's thousands and thousands of people that want to do it. So this is the cream of the crop.
And there's thousands and thousands of people that could do it, given the right opportunity, getting in the right situation.
Well, I hope it's not thousands.
Let's say hundreds.
Green flag back out at Martinsville. Again, it's Terry Cook, a great start, trying to stay in front of that 23 of Johnny Benson. Benson trying to fight back and get that one lap that he is down. They drag race down the backstretch.
Well, Terry Cook might have got a great start, but Johnny Benson got a greater start because he was able to be even with him.
Oh, good job by Cook.
Yeah, Terry does not want to let anybody get in front of him.
That's a deal there where Terry Cook just used his part of the racetrack and didn't slide up too far. Johnny needed the space that Terry Cook. Now, you talk about guys in this world that can do this. These cats have proven they can do it at the top level in their sport, which is open wheel racing. And I'm darned impressed with what they're doing today. Keeping their nose clean, both of them, well.
Right. A little contact right there. The 09 of Joey Clanton got in the back of Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques has a good corner, though, and pulled over.
Saved that truck, and saved that truck.
He pulled over to the inside and said, I didn't like that, Stacy. Don't be doing that.
Dario's going to leave that battle right now. He's going to let Jacques fend for himself with the 09 of Joey Clanton.
Both of those guys racing right at the top 15.
Getting tight again.
Just doing a heck of a job.
Again, that's Dennis Setzer in that 18, the Fastenal Dodge for Bobby Hamilton Racing. Joey Clanton in the 09 on the outside. Joey Clanton in the running for Rookie of the Year this year.
Still being shown one lap down right now. Johnny Benson also one lap down. So that is a battle, even though they're not together on the racetrack. But those are the two trucks right now that are one lap down.
Racing for that Aaron's lucky dog.
Those cats will be lucky if they survive that battle. They're all stacked up all over each other.
Now Jack Sprague's trying to get by Johnny Benson on the racetrack. Sprague running second. Right behind him is Mike Skinner, Travis Quapple, and Rick Crawford are your top five.
A lot of damage to that left front fender, left front corner of that Toyota for Johnny Benson, but he is in position right now if the caution flag were to come out to get that Aaron's lucky dog.
Get that free pass back onto the lead lap.
You know, and that most of the time in most of the racetracks, that's all that matters. You get back on the lead lap, then you're back in contention. But remember, if Johnny gets that lucky dog, then he will have to restart this race from the tail end of the longest line, which means he has no track position because most of these guys aren't going to stop anymore, Krista.
Hey, and I know, Phil, that you guys are all about Michael McDowell covering the ARCA Series this year. This guy was incredible. Here he is in the truck, and they have been making major adjustments today. The track bar going down 2 rounds back on lap 24, 3 rounds on that last stop on lap 64. Something else that's impressive about this driver, he's been training for a marathon. Guess what? He can't run in it because he'll be racing in Phoenix instead. Talk about dedication.
Talk about luck.
I was going to say, what a lucky guy.
Hey, run 200 laps at Phoenix or run 26 miles on foot.
I'm pretty sure I know what I would choose after running 4 marathons myself. I was running one day and I thought I felt like Forrest Gump. I said, I think I'm done running now. I got all I wanted to get.
And you were done.
Side by side for 6th. Matt Crafton still moving up toward the front. And look at Ron Hornaday moving out on David Starr in that number 10.
Yeah, Ron going to try to get a spot, trying to take over that 7th position from David Starr, that number 10, Max Force Ford. He does get it. Here's a good side-by-side battle. Remember Clint Bory, he was Aaron's lucky dog last caution flag. There's Colin Brown right there doing a good job in his first ever Truck Series start. Actually, first NASCAR start.
Yeah.
And here comes Leffler after the spin, having to work back through this field. You know, this is a cat that you got to think about as not stopping again. Obviously, he just pitted. But if some of these other guys say, my truck's going away, it won't stick, I got to have some tires, that could put Leffler in a really good position.
Terry Cook has now led 59 laps in that number 59 Toyota Tundra. Jack Sprague led the other 26. Those are the only two that have been in front of the field here at the paperclip we call Martinsville.
No one has more access to the action than a pit crew member, until now.
Known for its extreme competition, the American Le Mans Series on Speed takes you into the night under the lights of Laguna Seca's Corkscrew. Join us live for the climactic season finale, crowning of the American Le Mans Series champion. Coming up next, only on Speed.
You know, Dario Franchitti, who's running this truck race right now, running 16th, was supposed to be in that race. And Tony Kanaan is going to take his place for Andretti Green Racing and drive alongside Brian Herta.
Lucky Tony Kanaan.
That's right.
That's a great racetrack, isn't it?
It really is. The Corkscrew there at Laguna Seca.
I love it. Look at Terry Cook. 60-some laps he's led already.
Almost 70 now of the 95 that we've run.
That would be a local win there because Jim Harris, his team is based here in Martinsville, Virginia. Danny Rollins, the crew chief, one of the nicest guys in the garage area, Jim Harris.
Unbelievable.
And he needs to get that zero out of the way, and he's going to do that.
Harris Trucking Company, Virginia-based company, and look at, I tell you what an impressive job Terry Cook has done up to this point. You think Jack Sprague is kind of laying back right now because he has been on pit road.
It's not like Jack Sprague to lay back much, truthfully.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out in a second because Skinner's coming right up on him, and he's not about to let Skinner go anywhere.
Nope.
Travis Quapple running in the 7th position, just in front of Denny Hamlin. What's going on with Quapple, Adam?
Well, it wasn't 15 laps ago, maybe less than that, Rick. He was running in the 4th spot, but he lost his rhythm. And the reason why he lost his rhythm, a little help from Rick Crawford. Just a slight bump. You look here at the replay, coming off the corner, there is some contact. That slid Quapple up out of the groove. Crawford went by. Matt Crafton, Ron Hornaday Jr. also take advantage. And Travis now finds himself riding in the 7th position. Mike Dean, the crew chief, came on the radio, said, Travis, just find your rhythm once again. So Phil and Michael, just how important is rhythm at a short racetrack for these guys?
Extremely important. Did you see how his hands were when he got hit there and got sideways? He had to crank that thing all the way back to the right. But Travis Quapple is a great race car driver. Has had some success here. Not got to victory lane, but very competitive here.
He mentioned the word rhythm. How can you get into a rhythm when you're either looking out for somebody in front of you or watching your mirror about getting hit and somebody behind you?
Well, when somebody jacks you up, turns you sideways, it takes you a lap or two to get over that. You know, you get excited, your truck doesn't stick right when you get to the next corner because you try to dive in there a little bit deeper to make up for what you lost. It honestly takes you a lap or two.
Especially with these radial tires because you overheat the tires a little bit when that thing is as sideways as he was coming off the corner. Here's Dennis Setzer, the 18 truck there. He's going to get by that 09 of Joey Clanton. I know he gave him a little shot the last lap, so he wanted Joey to know that he is a lap down. Dennis is on the lead lap, and he wants by.
A lot of smoke continues to come out of that 41. It looks like, is it brakes? He's hitting the brakes a little hard.
He's hitting the brakes a little hard. He's also, if you'll look, he's holding up a whole, see all those trucks behind him? There's a big gap in front of Dario, and that usually means he's going to get hit to say, speed up some, or we're going to have to knock you out of the way.
It looks like he's having some brake trouble because he is really slowing down as they get down the corner. I think he may be sliding that left front wheel a little bit when he gets down into turn number 1, but as you mentioned, there's almost a half a straightaway between Jacques Villeneuve, the truck running in front of the 41 of Dario Franchitti. The 09 right here is not going to give him much chance here. This is going to be...
This is like when you're driving down the interstate and someone's in the left lane and people are lined up behind. Only you don't run into them on the interstate. These guys have...
Well, most of the time.
I was going to say, most of us in the booth don't.
Yeah, most of us don't.
These guys have to they got to get going, and Dario's holding them up. He's been smoking that left front wheel every lap since the race started, so he's used those brakes up pretty good, and now he's got a whole bunch of trucks he's holding up, and they won't be they won't be patient much longer.
Doesn't look like the patience is going to be holding out much longer for Jack Sprague now as he gets right on the back bumper of Terry Cook.
Remember, 105 laps into this race. Terry Cook has not been on pit road.
We're past halfway. Again, this is just a 200-lap race, and there's the bump. Jack Sprague let him know, I'm right on your back bumper.
Well, I don't think he had to tell him that.
No, he didn't have to tell him.
I'm sure Terry knew he was there.
What he might have been saying is, and plus Skinner's right on my back bumper.
Yeah.
So I need you to hurry up.
See Leffler in the left side of your screen, just in front of that 30 of Todd Bodine.
That's a frustrating time as a racer right there when they're all stacked up all around you. Terry doesn't care.
And now Joey Clanton putting a little bit of a bumper to the inside of Dario Franchitti.
Oh, that won't work.
There it is.
Yeah.
Dario Franchitti gets turned around and problems with Clay Rogers. He gets into the front of him. So some damage to the 41, damage to the 75, and the caution has come out once again. This is our 6th of the day.
Now there's a fair chance that Dario's spotter was saying, you got a gap right there, get in it, get it. But by the time that all comes out, there's no gap.
Because of that truck behind him is going to want to close that gap. He's going to want to get in that hole because he knows the 41 was holding up a pretty good line there. There's Dario's crew right there on top of the box. But I tell you, he did a great job. He was running out there, running in the top 15, 16 positions. But unfortunately, this is short track racing. It happens all the time.
You can see that right front tire wheel isn't turning, so he's going to have some issues when he gets to pit road.
Take another look. Joey Clanton gets by, and they're coming in very hard. Was the Bobby Hamilton car or truck of Dennis Setzer?
Yeah, Dennis wanted to take advantage of the fact that the 41 was up the racetrack because of the 09. Got him up the racetrack. Here's another view from Dennis's onboard. He's going to try to shoot this gap here, and Dario's going to try to get in that hole, like you mentioned. The hole closed up quick.
Yeah, that was just a mistake by Dario because there was no way to get in that. I mean, you've got to understand. Now, in Dario's defense, he doesn't understand. This is all new to him, but there's no way that truck was going to get in that hole. He just didn't have the speed to get down in front of Dennis Setzer.
Just a little behind that. This is Leffler's look at it. He was able to sneak by on the inside. Again, the 6th caution of the day has come out. These caution laps are very big for Terry Cook, who is still in front of the field. He has not stopped yet today. Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti. Welcome to NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Short Track Racing.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman, by Fastenal, we get it right, and by Dodge. Live life to the fullest. Dodge. Grab life.
Beautiful clear day here in Martinsville, Virginia. Our aerial coverage provided to you by Goodyear. Again, for fast track tested technology, get there on Goodyear Innovation. That's the view from the blimp, and take a look at this. There is the blimp. Goodyear blimp, seen over so many sporting events.
And if you feel the stress and the strain on these Goodyear Eagles, these truck guys are racing on today, Goodyear Wranglers, it's amazing. You've got all kinds of heat in those front brakes. You're turning a sharp turn, but Goodyear brings a tire every week that when I get in my passenger car, my Toyota, to drive down the street, I am so happy to be in it.
Yeah, there's another guy right there that's happy to be on Goodyear tires, and he gets the Aaron's lucky dog, Johnny Benson.
And he used to drive for Aaron's too. It's just a real coincidence, Krista.
It's all good. Those are the words from Brian Patty to Dario Franchitti. A lot of coaching, a lot of mentoring going on. Remember, he's never raced a truck. He's never raced at this track. Dario came on the radio and said, how much damage do I have? He said, minimal. That was the response. But, I was standing right there. There's a lot of left front damage to the truck, but they're trying to keep Dario cool and calm in that truck. Bob?
Everyone keep an eye on the 9 truck of Ted Musgrave. He runs 12th right now, but this restart should be very interesting. He's having a little bit of a transmission problem. He's having trouble shifting from 2nd to 3rd, so he is worried about these restarts, guys.
And we always hear that accordion effect. That would be a problem if he's not able to get up to speed.
Yeah, because he's going to want to stay in line the best he can, Rick, to keep those trucks from bypassing him, so it will bunch them up.
Coming out of turn number 4, the green flag will go back in the air. We're back underway at Martinsville.
Good break for Terry Cook. He gets out in front of that 08 of Chris Jones. The 60 of Jack Sprague also clears that lap truck.
Skinner on the outside trying to get by the lap truck. Skinner running 3rd. Then it's Crawford. Matt Craftsman is 5th. Ron Hornaday Jr. is 6th. Denny Hamlin runs 7th. Travis Kvapil 8th. David Starr is 9th. And Kyle Busch in the top 10.
You know, Jack Sprague right now needs to show some patience. He obviously doesn't want to beat the nose off that truck, but also you never know when you're going to get a chance to take that lead. Once he gets there, I think Jack would rather go ahead and get the lead and try to dictate the rest of this race.
What happens is Terry Cook is pretty good for 15, 20 laps after a restart, and then they start to catch him. Well, about the time they catch him, the caution comes out, and he's able to get his stuff pulled back down and hold those guys off. He hasn't been able to gap them quite as much this time as they did earlier.
This time now the 51 of Kyle Busch moves out on that 10 of David Starr. Makes it 2 wide. He's right behind the 41 of Dario Franchitti. He's going to try to go around him on the outside now.
He told David Starr that I know that I'm on the outside, and that I'm on the inside, that 41's on the inside, but I'm going to move you out a little bit and make myself a bit of a hole there.
We will widen this track.
He was very aggressive the way he passed David Starr. You want to see an aggressive race. These two are all over it.
Take a look there. Kyle Busch about to lose the right front of his splitter, just as his teammate Denny Hamlin did earlier.
Yeah, we saw that happen to Kyle not too long ago. Was it Loudon?
Battle for the lead.
There it goes. Jack Sprague makes his move on the inside, and the caution has come out for Dennis Setzer in the 18. He's turned around. What loop will they look at as far as where was Jack Sprague and Terry Cook?
Yeah, Dennis Setzer was already turned around when I looked back to the leaders and saw that Terry Cook was still ahead. So NASCAR will determine when they threw the caution flag, and that automatically freezes all the loops, and they'll look back and say the most recent loop and what happened. Here's Dennis Setzer. He's going to get turned by the 2 of Clint Boyer right there.
That's old school racer Dennis Setzer and new school racer Clint Boyer. And Clint said, I'm in there about a foot or so.
I got about maybe 1 foot.
I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Valuable real estate when you talk about racing at Martinsville Speedway. Every inch and foot counts. Terry Cook still in front of this field. Short track racing today. Next week it is the 1.5 mile high bank, very fast track at Atlanta for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's next Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, the setup show starts us off with Chris Devoto. Green flag back in the air. It's Terry Cook still in front of Jack Sprague, but for how long? Jack had made the pass, or it looked as though he was making the pass when the last caution came out.
Yeah, he was going to make that pass. Unfortunately for him, Dennis Setzer had spun out over there with some help from Clint Boyer in turn 1. NASCAR reviewed the tape, went back to the previous loop, saw that the 59 was ahead when the caution flag came out.
Nose to tail across the start-finish line once again. Terry Cook, Jack Sprague, Mike Skinner, Rick Crawford, and Matt Crafton. As far as championships go, Mike Skinner just 2 trucks in front of our point leader, Ron Hornaday, right now. So not a big points day, but anything is good for Mike Skinner right now. He is in front of that 33.
There's a 51 right there, Kyle Busch. Krista, what's going on with Kyle Busch?
You guys talked about that front splitter kind of dangling. That is definitely a problem. They were hoping that Kyle could maybe rub up against the wall and knock it loose so that NASCAR wouldn't make him come in. Kyle also talking a little bit about some chatter in the right front. That's the issue with the 51. Adam?
And there could be an issue with leader Terry Cook. A handful of laps ago, he came on the radio, said he felt a vibration. This was just before Jack Sprague was about to make the pass. Prior to that last caution, said he felt like something had gone wrong in the rear end. So we'll keep our eye on Terry Cook. Meanwhile, Jack Sprague, who's chasing him, got a great message from his crew chief, Tony Furr, under the last caution flag. Furr said, be patient. You've got him on the ropes. Sprague replied, tell Skinner to be patient. We can get the job done. And Mike Skinner said, I'm still tight, but we can catch him. Jeff Hensley reminded him, the 59 may not be able to make it on fuel. You're probably just racing the 60 for the win here today.
We're adding up those caution laps. We've had 33, and a lot of the crew chiefs earlier today said they'd need at least 50 caution laps to be able to make it the entire race.
Yeah, I think that 59 of Danny Rollins and Terry Cook would like to see some more caution laps. They probably need, as you mentioned, about 20 more laps here, but Terry Cook's made his bet. He's going to stay right there. Even if Jack Sprague was to get by him, he knows that if he gives up track position, if he's running second, third, first, whatever, he's probably not even going to finish in the top 15, so he's got to stay on the racetrack.
You got to remember, he was running 24th or 5th when the caution came out and he stayed out. Now he's racing. He's in the lead. He can't give up that track position, Phil.
No way.
Rick Crawford's running in the 4th spot. Bob Dillner, how's he doing?
Oh, he is doing awesome, and he has a very good truck here today. Cowboy Starland reminded him as we see debris on the racetrack, hey, be patient. We have the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. And he radioed back to Cowboy and the boys. He said, we are going to be coming the last 50 laps for the race. Look out for us. We have the best truck on the track.
Look at Mike Skinner. He took a look to the inside of Jack Sprague. We saw that debris on the racetrack. I think that's far enough out of the way. They should not throw a caution for that debris.
Terry Cook does not agree.
He totally does not agree.
It is way out of the groove, though. Normally NASCAR will not throw out a caution flag for debris unless it is in the groove or in the racing line.
You know, Bob Dillner, this 27, he's passing every test. He's currently running the top 15, mixing it up with Clint Boyer, running a great race. What's he saying from the cockpit? Have you heard?
You know, this is really funny, Michael. I've been listening to them all day long, and they've been going back and forth, and Jock has been pretty quiet. You know, Slugger, Labby, all those guys have been really coaching him a lot. But the latest radio transmission is very interesting. Oh, big change for the lead, guys. We'll get back to that in a moment.
Oh, yeah, and it's Mike Skinner making the move now on Jack Sprague. Sprague was able to get by Terry Cook. Now Skinner takes the position. Crawford looks to the inside for second.
Now Jack Sprague is going to be fit to be tied right now. He lost the lead. He got by the 59 and lost the lead.
Hornaday bunted to 59 down into turn 1. These guys are going crazy.
And there's still 65 laps to go.
We got a lot of laps of racing to go, and now Mike Skinner out in front of Jack Sprague. He is leading in Martinsville.
Jack did all that work to get the lead, and he still didn't get it.
Take a look at what happened. Again, it was Terry Cook that was in front of Jack Sprague. Sprague decides it's time to go.
He goes on to turn number 1, gives him a shot, gets him up out of the groove, tries to get by on the inside here. Look at Mike Skinner. Jack was having trouble getting some bite. Mike Skinner drives by on the inside.
Watch what happens to Hornaday and Cook going into turn 1. I said he bunted him. I mean, he punted him. That's way more than a bunt.
Oh, my goodness. Back to back.
That's a swing away. That's a swing away right there, isn't it?
I don't think that was a bunt. He was going for the fence.
Now, Terry Cook right now is so vulnerable, Phil. He's frustrated. He's got older tires, and now he's falling into the clutches of 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. He could lose 10 spots here very easily. Looks like if he can gather his composure, maybe he's good enough to hang on right now.
Yeah, that 14 truck is pretty good, as we heard earlier. He's hanging in there in the 3rd spot right now. Matt Crafton runs 4th. Terry Cook maintains the 5th spot.
Terry Cook in 5th. He can hang his hat on one thing today for sure. He led the most laps, 108 of those out in front of this field. But now it's Mike Skinner who leads from Martinsville.
And it all comes down to this for Hauer.
For his fiancée, it's meant postponing their wedding for this event.
It's a clean start. There seems to be some sort of trouble with the Hampton boat. Oh dear, a seat just broke.
The boat is literally falling apart.
Somebody is going to have a lot of explaining to do.
Not the official tools of competitive rowing. The official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
The Ford F-150 is equipped with vented disc brakes, standard on all 4 wheels. They're vented so they stay cooler, perform better, and maximize stopping power. So even though you'll probably never have to haul a 30,000-pound aircraft, at least you know you can stop one.
Caution number 8 has come out, and this is why Colin Brown has really destroyed the left side of that truck.
You wonder if maybe that left rear tire might have gone down getting in the corner, but it sure flattened the left side of that truck. See if we can get a view here.
Oh, he's all by himself. I'd say he blew a left rear field, just like you said.
The 99 was in the vicinity, and that's his teammate, Eric Darnell.
I'm going to tell you, those safer barriers, you saw the angle of the contact there, and the distance from the safer barrier to the wall, that all gives, and it just absorbs the impact. Look at our leader, Skinner. Rode along there patiently behind Sprague and Cook, and then jumped when he got a chance.
Had the opportunity, saw it, seized it. Take a look at our points standings.
Another flip-flop.
Seizing the opportunity. Mike Skinner in front of Ron Hornaday on the racetrack, now in front of Hornaday by 26 points in the point standings. Black flag for Dario Franchitti. He's got to come in and work on that truck. We'll be back with more racing after this. In today's Craftsman Tools of the Trade, we want to talk about Craftsman's 5.5-inch circular saw. Now, what makes this better is it's smaller, it's handier to get into tight places. It also has a work light on the front that illuminates any of your jobs that you're working on. The unique thing about this one is the laser that points out the line that you're going to be cutting on the piece of wood. And we're going to show that here. That will line up perfectly with whatever line you have on your wood, and we'll cut the board. Craftsman's 5.5-inch circular saw is available for you at your local Sears. Check out this Craftsman Tools of the Trade and other great programming on Speed on Demand. Two Toyotas out in front of the field today. They could lock it up today, Phil.
They could be their second consecutive manufacturer's championship with a win today. They would win that. And speaking of Toyota, we're going to have the Toyota Showdown later tonight. But first, we're going to have the ALMS from Laguna Seca. The last race for ALMS in the Toyota All-Star Showdown from Irwindale, California. Sean Case, Joey Logano on the front row. Mike Duncan, Mark Davis, second row. Brian Eichler will be fifth, and we'll be back with more from Martinsville right after this.
Want FX and HD? Switch to DirecTV.
Green flag just coming back out here at Martinsville, and all of a sudden we've got bumping and banging going on the racetrack. That's Ron Hornaday, who was your points leader coming into the race today, and he is really in a mess.
It started with a contact from Ron to the 59 of Terry Cook, and then it continued all the way down the backstretch.
59 laid on Ron just to let him know he didn't like it. Ron was able to get away, but like I said earlier, the 59, he's so vulnerable right now, and we're seeing that. He's falling back 10th. He could go all the way back to 15th or 20th by the time he finally gets his wits back about him.
He's hung out on the outside. The 15 of Denny Hamlin is on the inside. There's David Starr right behind him. Let's see if we can...
Oh, got a crash on the front straightaway.
Problems with Jacques Villeneuve. He has hit the wall hard.
Very hard. You have to wonder.
He might have had a little help.
We saw what he...
See the steam on the windshield. He's obviously busted the radiator in that truck.
Man, he hit hard.
He is climbing out of that, or started to climb out of that truck. And again, the safer barriers are on the inside of the front and back stretch. So he did hit the safer barrier head on.
We're getting a report that Terry Cook in the 59 truck may have made contact with Jacques in that 27 truck. You know, the 59 was rattled from all that contact we saw over there coming off of turn 2. He's driven up there to show his displeasure to the 33 of Ron Hornaday. See Jacques moving around in that truck. Gives a thumbs up.
Trying to climb out, disconnecting everything.
I caught on fire at California, and they wondered why it took me so long to get out. I'm about 2 foot taller than him.
Yeah.
He couldn't hardly get out. Bob?
Well, Michael, ironically, what I was starting to talk about earlier about Jacques Villeneuve is Slugger Labby came on the radio and said, man, you're doing a good job. Your truck looks a lot better than it did in Talladega. And Jacques came on the radio and he simply said, for now. Well, that for now finally came. Jacques appears to be okay. He radioed, hey, I'm A-okay. Just trouble here at Martinsville for Jacques Villeneuve.
Hard lessons being learned I don't even know if you call this a lesson, though. I think this was that was a racing incident where Terry Cook, Jacques Villeneuve got into each other. I mean, Terry Cook got into Jacques.
He got laps here. That's the important thing. He got over 150 laps here, plus all the practice yesterday. So, and he's expanding his learning. You know, he's expanding. He's going to be coming back here next year to run a Nextel Cup race, and he knows what this racetrack's about, and he knows how to race at this racetrack now.
If I'm Chip Ganassi and Felix Sabates with Dario, I said pass. Great job. You know, they didn't get finishes that they wanted, but they competed, and they were smart, and they ran well. Same way with Bill Davis and Jacques. Oh.
There's all sorts of contact here. The one of Jason Leffler and the two of Clint Boyer.
Yeah.
He pretty much was a ping pong ball right between the two of them.
Yeah.
Let's obviously take the blame away from Terry Cook. He was not involved in this. See, there's a contact right there with Jason Leffler. Now Clint Boyer drives up on the inside. Then Jacques gets sideways, and when Clint Boyer makes contact, it turns him straight into the inside wall.
Yeah, Jacques trying to catch that. He's trying to turn back to the right, but with the truck on his inside, there's nothing he can do. The back end keeps going around on him.
And you could see Leffler, he got it all started. He got down in the corner and gave Jacques a little boot, and then that let Boyer drive on the inside, and then from then on, it was just a racing deal. You're going to get a boot here and there, and that's what Leffler delivered to Jacques, and it cost him his truck.
Chris DeVoto, I believe you've caught up with our other open-wheeler today.
That's what I was just going to say, Rick. From trouble with one open-wheeler to the other. Dario Franchitti, you just said long day. How was it, your first truck race?
You know what? To start with, it was really good. The Target Dodge was handling pretty well, good balance, but then the longer we ran, the tighter I got in the center of the corner, and also on the brakes, and I kept winding brake to the back, but it was making no difference. Kept locking up, kept running wide, and then eventually somebody got a run on me, got inside, so I let him go, but there was a miscommunication between my spotter and I, and a bunch more came down. One of the guys hit me, and then from there it just spiraled. But you know, we came here to learn, and that'll be good information for next year.
Well, your day ends early, but you know, you and I were talking earlier, and you said you wanted to dive right into Martinsville tradition. So it means now you can get one of these even sooner, right? A Jesse Jones hot dog. Yeah. He said he would do it. There you go. Yeah, now see, Juan Montoya said he won't eat them. Dario Franchitti, he's good for it, guys.
Well, he's from Scotland.
Yeah, he's only the second Scottish driver ever to win the Indy 500. You know who the first one was?
I don't. Jim Clark.
Jay.
No, I was getting ready to say his initials. His initials are JC, and you jumped right in.
You got it. You got it.
That was back in the 60s.
You know what year?
65.
Exactly.
65.
That's exactly right.
I was 2. I remember it kind of.
I don't remember it, actually. Look at this. This was under caution. Jason Leffler decided not happy about what's going on the racetrack here.
NASCAR will not be too happy about that.
They won't be fond of that also.
Well, I wonder why he did that.
He wanted to do a little more damage to the left side of that truck.
Because it didn't do it. I mean, nothing good comes from anything like that. You tear up your truck worse, you make NASCAR mad, and oh, by the way, the guy that you just roughed up under caution,
he remembers it.
He's right behind you. So Jason needs to use his brain a little bit more under the caution, I think. He does pretty good when it's green, though.
37 laps of racing to go. We're still under our 9th caution of the 2007 event here at the Kroger 200.
See what happens when we get down there. It looks like he just got down to the corner and the truck wouldn't turn. And then he made contact with the 51 of Kyle, turned him around, and then got caught up against the outside wall. Cautions breed cautions. It happens all the time here. But there's another view. You see, Kyle Busch had given Terry plenty of room down on the inside, and Terry actually came up to the second lane to make that contact.
You know, when you take a truck that isn't quite as fast as some of the leaders, and then you don't take tires on it, and you stay out, you run lap after lap, you become so vulnerable. And we said it earlier, you know, as he began to slip back, it was going to get tougher and tougher.
Now, we talked a little bit about Jason Leffler making contact with Clint Boyer. We have to play the tape back a little bit.
Watch that. That's Clint Boyer making contact with Jason Leffler first, and then this is what we saw the time we threw Jason under the bus a little bit. That's what the contact we saw when he hit Clint Boyer, but actually it started back going in turn number 3 when Clint hit him.
And in all fairness, Jason did a much better job of hitting Clint than Clint did Jason.
If there's any fairness when you talk about hitting people. Bob Dillner.
Well, we were all impressed with Jacques Villeneuve here today in his first attempt at the paperclip of Martinsville, but what happened in that incident?
Well, I'm not sure. I got hit a few times. There were a lot of, felt like a ping pong ball in there, and in the end got turned around, hit the wall. But too bad because, you know, my USF truck was running really strong, and could overtake a few people. It was a lot of fun.
Michael, he was up to 14th, had a great run going, but I think he stole your words. He was like a ping pong ball.
I sure did like watching him race today, though, Phil. He raced like he'd been doing this short track racing forever. And we know for him and Dario, this is a whole nother world.
Hey, these guys are some of the greatest guys in the world, race car drivers. So you know they're going to be competitive. And there's a lucky dog for Clay Riders. Isn't that's a cute dog, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's a lucky dog at Aaron. Bring it on around.
So next time by, we'll go back to racing. Our aerial coverage provided to you by Goodyear. For track-tested technology, get there on Goodyear Innovation.
You know, that camera up there from that blimp doesn't have to have a very wide lens because this is a fairly narrow track here.
Yeah, it is a very tight racetrack here in Martinsville.
Evident by all the caution flags we've had.
We've had 10 now. Again, earlier this year it was 12 caution flags. We've gone up to 54 laps. Obviously, Terry Cook came down, so he's not under that strategy of staying on the racetrack anymore. Green flag back in the air. It's Mike Skinner in front of the field now.
Jack would love to make a move on the restart. That's when Mike Skinner would probably be the most vulnerable, not able to do it yet.
Man, look at him dive down in the corner. Just so hard, Phil. That's why when somebody gets into the back of another guy, it causes that chain reaction. Everybody's right on the edge of their chair trying to get all they can get.
And you get down in the corner and you stand up on the brakes. You use all the brakes you have to get these trucks slowed down, and you can misjudge that so easily.
Adam Alexander.
Well, you guys talked earlier about the fact a win for Toyota today means their second consecutive manufacturers championship, and of course they've got a driver championship on the line with leader Mike Skinner at this stage of the race. There's been a lot of radio communication about if Jack Sprague is good enough on a restart, Mike Skinner will let him go. The last thing Skinner wants to happen is have Sprague drive to his inside, take them both out. Toyota has actually got involved helping orchestrate that, but when you look at the restart, guys, the last thing Sprague needs to worry about is the lead. He's got quite a bit of company in his back bumper right now.
You know, that's all fine and good, but I don't see Mike Skinner letting Jack Sprague go. I don't see that.
That's not going to happen. And nobody's going to, Jack Sprague isn't going to work with anybody. Did you hear him before the race? We need something good to happen.
Right.
We've had a good year, but we've had bad luck. We want something big to happen today. He wants, we got to spin and turn. No, we don't. No,
Sideways,
yeah, finally.
all the way around he goes. That's the 8 of Travis Dasso.
Can he get it going? The caution flag hasn't flown yet.
No caution yet. Let's see if he can
Come on,
get that
Travis.
refired.
Come on, Travis.
Looks like he's trying to get it refired, but caution flag is out.
Comes out just as they reach Travis, and that's the 11th caution flag of the day.
Couldn't get that thing started back up. Looked like he's going to save it. He and Michael McDowell hung together in turn 3 and didn't get done wrecking until all the way off of turn 4.
Now exceeded the average. More laps than normal under caution here.
Over 55 laps of caution. So if someone would have wanted to do the strategy of staying on the racetrack, more than likely they could have.
See the contact right there between the 17 of Michael McDowell and the 8 of Travis Dasro. Looked like Michael may have been side by side with another truck as they entered turn number 3.
Bob Dillner, what else is going on with Hornaday?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been very interesting listening to Ron Hornaday over the last 50 laps or so. In fact, very entertaining because he's speaking with a lot of veracity on the radio right now. He's not a very happy camper inside that truck. He thinks he's got a very good truck, but he says the 88's holding him up. The 59 got into him. I can't believe how Jack Sprague is racing. So a lot of complaints coming from the 33 of Ron Hornaday, who's trying to catch Skinner in that battle for the championship right now. He's behind the 8 ball, and that's Kevin Harvick on top of the box, and he was not too happy with how late that caution had come out. Adam?
Well, if you've been watching NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing in 07, Bob, you know the word for Jack Sprague has been frustration. No different here today. It takes him a few laps to get going, and these cautions absolutely killing him. He came over the radio and said, I really think I can get Skinner as long as we can put some green flag laps together. Well, the laps are running out, and guys, back to that conversation we had a minute ago, you would not have believed what Sprague and Skinner were saying on the radio, but Skinner did say, I'll let you go on the outside as long as we can pull away from those guys, and he is in fact better. So you never know, perhaps older and wiser for Sprague and Skinner.
Let's get you caught up to speed. What has happened today at Martinsville Speedway on lap 37?
A little contact between the 16 of Brian Scott, the 29 of Scott Lynch. Scott gets turned around.
Then it was lap 67. On that one, 2 trucks involved, Johnny Benson and Regan Smith. All the way to 73. A 1-truck incident here with Jason Leffler getting turned around with the help of Matt Crafton.
Cap 108. These guys are battling hard for the position, and Dario tries to get in the hole, but it's just not there. Bill, and he gets spun around by Dennis Setzer and then hit by Clay Rogers. Effectively ended his day.
Lap number 145 to 50. Colin Brown makes some pretty hard contact with the outside saber barrier.
Next it was lap 158, the 27 of Jacques Villeneuve. Nowhere to go when he's got the 2 on the inside of him, and he gets into the inside wall hard.
Hardest contact of the day there by Jacques Villeneuve for sure. And here we go back to green. And this is going to heat up. Jack Sprague gets a good jump on Skinner. Skinner dives to the bottom to block him off. You know, Skinner said,
look at Travis Dasrow makes contact with the 14 of Rick Crawford, allows the 88 to get by. And here goes Ron Hornaday trying to take over 4th.
And problems with the 17 of Michael McDowell.
Didn't see what happened with Michael.
We stay under green.
Under green, he's trying to limp back around, see if he can get into the pits.
Oh, he left some oil on the track. See the trucks all sliding up the hill. The track's been
there they go.
down.
2 trucks around, the 6 and the 1.
Travis and Jason Leffler get turned around. The caution has come out once again. That is number 12.
Tough break for Jason Leffler. He had raced his way all the way back up to the top 10 from his last spin. Now he's got to do it again.
Yeah.
All the drivers we heard are screaming oil on the racetrack. Krista.
We've caught up here in the garage with Kyle Busch, and Kyle, looked like on long runs you guys were able to catch him, and then we just couldn't get any. Is that the story of your day?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, our truck wasn't that great in practice, and we really never made any significant gains on it all day yesterday in practice, and so, you know, it's kind of a struggle out there for a while, but I mean, this race here is kind of pathetic. It's not really a race. It's more bumper cars and everything. I mean, you can't pass anybody. I haven't seen a single pass that's been clean yet. And, you know, you got guys running in the corner on the bottom, other guys trying to go 3 wide into a corner for no reason. And I guess that's just a product of truck racing and why everybody loves it so much.
That is exactly right. That is why we love it. That's Kyle Busch. And we're going to be seeing more of a second truck for Billy Ballou the rest of the year, guys.
A more mature Kyle Busch saying that's why everybody loves it so much when he actually thinks it's ridiculous.
Look at the damage to the 6 of Travis Quapple.
We saw the 17 of Michael McDowell probably oil up the racetrack, and here they get down in the corner 3 wide. The 1 of Jason Leffler, the 6 of Travis Quapple makes some contact. They're inside and middle of a 3 wide situation.
And the reason why the 15 was able to drive around the outside of these people, he was up where there wasn't any oil. Everybody else was sliding in oil, and he just went around the top side of them all. Good move by Ty Bodine to grease his way through there. Watch the 15.
Smoke right there.
Way out wide. Everybody starts sliding in the oil, and he just keeps digging.
Denny Hamlin with a left rear tire that's down. He'll have to come to pit road.
Yeah, Denny stays on the racetrack right now.
A tough day for Denny Hamlin. He was fighting right there in the top 5, right around 5th through 7th. Now being scored in 7th, but he'll have to come onto pit road. Adam Alexander.
Yeah, and you see the right front of that race truck. They damaged that in the very early going, Rick. But you mentioned despite that, they were able to come from somewhere around 15th and find their way into the top 10. They were running 7th, and then he came on the radio and said left rear tire, and there you can see it going down. This will throw away a top 10 finish for him. It would have been his 2nd consecutive top 10 at this racetrack, and not a good day in the overall for Billy Ballou Motorsports. Kyle Busch went out earlier, Bob.
Well, Jason Leffler has had a good race truck the entire day, but he has been involved in just a couple of incidents. In fact, he came on the radio after that one and really kind of sounded melancholic. He really didn't say much other than another race, another wreck.
Look at that oil. That's what's out on the racetrack, Rick. That's where the 17 truck of Michael McDowell went into the pits, and on that black surface on pit road, you can really see the shiny oil. That's what happened when the drivers got down to turn 1. No traction. They all got out of control.
And they were 2 and 3 wide. Adam.
And Denny Hamlin has made his way on the pit road. Service going on the right side of that Chevrolet, and they will put 4 tires on, obviously, because the left rear is where the problem came in. At least 25 trucks, I believe, on the lead lap. So Hamlin going to go from a solid spot in the top 10 with less than 20 to go to outside the top 25. Tough break for him. And when you look at the lack of success this team has had and the number of bad breaks they've had in the last few weeks in the Nextel Cup Series, I'm sure in many ways this doesn't surprise Denny Hamlin at all.
Sure, a couple of those drivers out on the track would like to see a red flag right now. Get this track cleaned up, give them a chance to fight for a few laps for this finish.
Yeah, there is a lot of speedy driving put down on this racetrack. I hear the jet drivers out there to try to blow it off.
And I think it's down in turn 1.
Yeah, that's where all the action was down there, all the spinning. And Michael McDowell, we saw him get going after the damage down the front stretch. So more than likely that fluid has to be down there in 1 and 2.
There's Michael McDowell there, getting out of his truck, explaining what exactly happened.
Again, Michael McDowell was the truck, that 17, that was spreading the oil on the inside of the racetrack.
Looks like he's fairly happy for tearing up Darrell's truck. Doesn't look like he must have had fun, getting to race on this track. First time in a NASCAR race for Michael. Adam, what's happening?
Well, the leader, Mike Skinner, just kind of echoing what you guys are talking about, and that getting this track cleaned up. When the caution first came out, Skinner talking a lot about oil on the racetrack. So NASCAR, I'm sure, doing everything they can to make sure we are in a good racing condition for the final 10 laps. But I think when you're in his situation, you feel a little bit of everything on the racetrack, don't you, Michael and Phil?
Well, he's going to be the first guy to get to turn 1, obviously. Right. He's leading the race, so if it isn't cleaned up properly, he's going to know it right away.
There's 13 laps to go. He would just assume them take about 13 laps to go ahead and clean this track up. He would just assume not race much anymore because he's got the lead, and he knows Jack Sprague is all over the back of him.
I think they missed it a little bit, Phil, here when they re-concreted this track, repaved this track. They did a wonderful job, but they needed to make it be a progressive banking. The bottom lane needed to be flat and then ramped up a little bit higher on the outside. And the reason why I say that is there's no options here. Everybody runs right around the bottom. All you can do is run into them. I remember a few years back, they tried to fix the bottom of the racetrack. They wound up messing the bottom of the racetrack up, and everybody had to run up high. It gave you a chance to pass people. They would be up high, you could go down low. Right now, all you can do is dive down into the corner and run into the guy ahead of you.
And that's essentially what Kyle Busch was saying in his interview, that the only way to pass somebody is to knock him out of the way.
And I have to agree with Kyle. I would like to have seen, I love what they did to New Hampshire a couple years back. They fixed that racetrack, and this racetrack could have been fixed too, and they had the perfect opportunity to do so.
The same thing they did to Bristol with a concrete surface.
Yeah, the drivers had so much fun at Bristol, you could race all over that place.
See that line of oil that makes its way on into the pits. Again, that was the 17 of Michael McDowell that came down pit road.
I haven't seen them drop one speck of speedy dry down low in turn 1 and 2.
Unless they did it when we were focusing on turns 3 and 4, I haven't seen it either. And so, again, the oil was the question that was taking place there. Well, let's take a look at today's Stay in the Game with Just for Men moment.
We're going to take a look at Mike Skinner, how he took the lead. He's going to take advantage of Jack Sprague trying to get underneath that 59 truck. Here they are going down into turn number 1. The 59 truck had not pitted. The 60 makes contact. He gets to the inside, but watch Mike Skinner. The 60 has trouble getting some bite. Skinner goes by and takes the lead. That's our Just for Men Stay in the Game moment.
And again, Mike Skinner out in front of Jack Sprague, Matt Crafton, Rick Crawford, and Ron Hornaday. Those are your top 5. Krista.
We've talked a lot today about pit strategy. Some of these teams' strategy has just been survival. We knew attrition would come into play. Tim Sauter said way back early in this race that he was just trying to save his tires so he had something at the end. And look at there, Tim Sauter all the way up into the top 10. He's running 9th. At Talladega, he lost his hold on the rookie standings. Willie Allen now has that position, but Tim Sauter is going for a strong top 10. Bob.
Well, Krista, still pretty interesting listening to the 33 team of Ron Hornaday. His team owner is Kevin Harvick, and he's standing on top of the box right now. Hornaday just radioed in and said, "Hey, boss, you look like you're a little bit bored." And Harvick said, "Oh, yeah, I'm overwhelmed with excitement right now, but I'm just worried about how it's going to be at the end of this race." Guys, I think everybody knows it's going to get down to the nitty-gritty here, so you better buckle up your britches.
And they're about to get back to racing. The flagmen were, or flag person said Next time around, it is time to go racing, and so the pace truck makes its way back onto pit road. The field back in the hands of Mike Skinner now. 10 laps of racing to go. It will be 9 to go when they cross the start-finish line. Green flag back in the air.
See it, Jack. Jack not able to do anything going into 1. Remember, Mike Skinner, that racetrack could be slick down there. Jack Sprague all over the back of him.
And Matt Craftsman in a perfect position. If Mike Skinner and Jack Sprague are lobbying for space on this racetrack, Matt Craftsman could get his first win today.
I know he's tired of finishing third, Rick. He finishes there a lot. He just can't get any better than that.
5 times Matt Craftsman has finished third. Currently, he runs in third. Just behind him, it's Rick Crawford, and then right behind him, Ron Hornaday.
You know, Mike Skinner right now, he wants to make sure he stays on the bottom of the racetrack, so he may be a little conservative getting in the corner, but then he wants to get in that throttle and beat Jack Sprague off the corner. Ooh,
oh, spin.
Problems hard. There is the 07. And we just heard, again, another hit. That was the 09 of Joey Clanton.
Wow.
07 of Tim Sauter got turned around. Joey Clanton came in and hit hard. Red flag is now out on the racetrack.
Right away, you see the 99 of Eric Donnell involved also. We've got the 09 Joey Clanton. The 15 of Denny Hamlin is also there. Jason Leffler, the 1 truck.
That looked like that could have happened at Talladega, Phil.
That was a hard one.
Big crash.
Joey Clanton trying to get that truck moving again, even though
he might as well quit trying.
Unbelievable damage to the front of that truck.
I think he's pretty much done right there. NASCAR has stopped the field over in turn number 3.
They want to get the safety crews out to check on the 07 of Tim Sauter. Also a very hard hit he took.
Look at the back of that truck. It's virtually not there.
There's Denny Hamlin in the 15. There's that 07 we're talking about, and then the back of that truck.
We can see Tim moving around in that truck. Looks like he's trying to take his helmet off.
I don't think he'll be able to get out that left side though, Phil. It's right up against the wall. He might have to come out this right side.
One nice thing about these trucks with a high cab like that, there is a little more room than you guys have in the Nextel Cup cars.
You just don't see a crash like that at Martinsville. It all started with someone getting a hold to Tim Sauter, knocking him sideways.
We just talked about what a good run he was having. He actually restarted in the 8th position, and they were side by side right around him. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened. Coming off turn number 4. See, Travis got a little bit sideways right there. That's actually, I think, the lap before that. As they go down in turn number 1, 3 wide. Ooh.
That was our issue earlier.
That's what caused the most recent caution flag prior to this one.
Yep, that was our 12th caution.
Here's the Big Daddy. Great job by Setzer.
Yeah, nice job.
Work his way through it.
There's another. Here's Jason Leffler.
This one will be
bad right
here.
behind him. He's going to get just about. Ooh, he makes some contact with the 09 of Joey Clanton. I think Joey Clanton with the 09 is the one that really. Here's another view right here. See Tim Sauter up against the wall. Watch this. There's Joey Clanton. I think is the one that's really going to hit him hard.
Yep, that 09 was trying to. It looked like he had an opportunity to make a pass on the outside and looked as though he stayed in the gas. We take another look from a different angle.
Yeah, watch that 09 come in here. Eric Donnell makes a little contact. Here comes Joey Clanton. He makes hard contact.
Man, I'm glad that was on the right side in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
That was big. That just goes to show you how fast these trucks are going here, Phil.
Yeah, get down to about 60 miles an hour down in the center of the corner, but they're probably running 80, 85 miles an hour, and it looks like they're running 185
when
miles
they hit each other, stuff flies everywhere.
See the trucks involved here in this most recent caution. Take another shot from up above now from the Goodyear blimp.
Great shot here.
Travis is going to make a little contact with the 07 of Tim Sauter, just racing right there. Todd really nowhere to go. The 29 goes by him. The 00 does a nice job getting through there, and Joey Clanton makes some pretty hard contact. Really, the outside of the racetrack is where the 09 or where the 07 was, and that's where Joey Clanton had committed to.
And it really didn't look like that Travis did anything wrong. I think that the 07 tried to kind of come down a little bit. Travis was there, and that started this mess. And I bet you the 07, Sauter thought they would never quit hitting.
Yeah.
He just kept getting hit.
Red flag condition. All the drivers have climbed out of the trucks, but there is a lot of cleanup to be done on the front stretch. We'll be back with more from Martinsville after these messages.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Toyota, moving forward, by the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman, and by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's nobody.
We were 8 laps away from the conclusion of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here at Martinsville Speedway, the Kroger 200, when our most recent caution took place and brought out our red flag condition. There you see the 09 of Joey Clanton, the remains of that truck. A lot of damage to the front end of that.
At least his remains are all in one hunk.
Yeah.
The 07's got, there's 2 chunks of remains.
Yeah. Hard contact.
Check that out.
That's part of it.
They're having to lift that truck up now to get it off of the racetrack. As much damage that was done. Again, immediately following this race, today on Speed, the ALMS Laguna Seca race at 5:30. And then tonight at 10 o'clock, the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. Sean Case on the pole, won that last night on Speed.
East versus West.
Absolutely,
Got the stars of the Grand National East Series and the West Series colliding. And it's such an entertaining race because of the track. It's a multi-bank turn track.
Just what you were talking about, that what they could have done here, progressive banking, and they run all over that racetrack at Irwindale.
Take another peek at what took place and how all of that damage.
With the 07 of Tim Sauter, the 6 of Travis Popple make contact. They get kind of tied up and can't get away from each other. And then the 09 of Joey Clanton comes along and makes significant contact with Tim Sauter's Lustrous Buildings 07. There's another view from inside the racetrack. See Tim trying to regain control there, runs out of racetrack. Eric Darnell got a piece of that, the 99, and then Joey Clanton came along with a nice piece of it. Real time.
You know, Phil, it's you see the sun shining right there off turn 4. Look at the glare. Now, how are they going to know what's happening? They're relying on their spotters, but you have to understand, they're wide open on the floorboard, and the spotter pushes the button and said, oh, I got to spin. By the time they get the transmission and let off, it's a big crash.
And we watch a lot of times in slow motion, and it looks like it takes a long time for all that to happen. Well, it happens a lot quicker than that.
Did you see this out of the 18 truck? He was blinded momentarily from the sunlight.
Difficult situation for all drivers involved in this one. Again, started off with the 30 and the 6 and the 07. And then Jason Leffler was caught up in this. The 09 was involved as well.
A whole bunch of trucks. Justin Labonte did a terrific job. He did bounce through there.
He got a piece of it, but he got through there.
And then you heard the way Setzer reacted. Just he let off the gas and watched it develop and then nailed it wide open. I'm getting on through here. A lot of talented, a lot of great moves getting through that crash without making it worse than it was.
FoxSports.com and SpeedTV.com form the most powerful online team in NASCAR. Breaking news, in-depth analysis, detailed driver stats, and more. Log on to SpeedTV.com now. Adam Alexander.
And if there's one team that would like to see this race end, it would be the 5 group of Mike Skinner. I heard there your driver saying he'd like to see Jack Sprague win a race, but I got a feeling when the gloves come off for these final 5 laps, he's going to do what it takes to win himself.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier. I mean, if a Toyota can win, then obviously that helps us out with our points competitors. But, you know, we got a pretty decent truck. Mike's done a heck of a job with it. We're not as good as we were here in the spring, but a little different gear ratio NASCAR put on us coming here. But, you know, all these guys here have done a heck of a job. We've worked our butts off this weekend, try to get this thing as good as we could get it. It's still not as good as it could be, but Mike's taking up a lot of slack for us right now. But hopefully Jack don't hit us too hard and we can finish these last 5 or 6 laps and try to win this thing.
Jeff Hensley only lives 15 minutes from here, so he wouldn't have to go far to celebrate tonight, Bob.
Well, I made a mistake earlier and called Kevin Harvick the team owner. It's actually Delana that's the team owner. I asked Delana what Kevin's title would be, and she said official cheerleader. So how are you going to cheer your guy, Ron Hornaday, on here, and what advice would you give him?
Well, right now it's just pretty intense these last few laps here, just for the fact that it's Martinsville, and I think we have 6 or 7 laps left. So I've been a part of this as a driver and know that anything can happen here. But everybody on this Camping World Chevrolet has done a great job. Ron, we don't ever have to worry about motivating him. He's self-motivated, so he's fun to watch, and hopefully things work out here in the end.
motivated to try to catch Skinner, or at least get as close as he can. Krista?
Well, Bob, we are down here in the other Kevin Harvick Incorporated camp with crew chief Wally Rogers, and I guess your driver, Clint, he's been pretty verbal on the radio today. Not always pleasant, though. Tight has been the condition. What's the day been like?
Yeah, our Camper World Chevrolet's been we've been a little too tight. Then the longer we run, we get a little too free. But the biggest thing, I got to thank Charlie Wilson and Lane Chandler. You know, those guys, they put this truck together, and they've done a really good job. And I get to bring the Dollar General guys down here, and we pit it on our weekend off. And I've been watching this race, and it's been like the go-kart race at Harvick's the other night. It's just wild.
Wild indeed. We heard a little bit about that go-kart race. I guess that got pretty gnarly, you would say. And before, Adam, before we get to you, I want to show, I know you can't see, Adam, but all the folks at home can see. They built me a platform. I'm actually standing on a couple of tires just so I could get up there and talk to Wally Rogers. So I'm really not this tall. I just appear so on television, I guess. Adam?
And Krista, this is my 21st race of the year. No platforms here all season long. But we are with Tony Furr, who came down off the box to talk with us. And I heard Skinner say he'd like to see Sprague win this race, but I'm sure Sprague going to have to earn it when we go back green.
Well, we'll see if he wants him to win or not. You know, I feel like we're probably a better truck right now, but the better truck don't always win here. But the Conway Toyota has really done good today. Jack's done a good job. The guys have done an excellent job preparing this truck for this race. We're just tickled to death, you know, with where we're at and all the stuff that's going on right now. And I tell you, I don't know, this last few laps is going to be very exciting. I know Jack can do it. It's going to probably be a pretty rough race, but we don't want to take him out. Skinner's a teammate of ours, and you know, he's leading the points, or right there at they got a chance to win it and all this year, and we don't want to do anything to spoil that, but we're going to race him hard, I promise you that. And Jack will do that, but I don't think Jack will take him out, and I don't want Jack to take him out. That's not the way we want to win. We want to win fair and square, and I think we got a better truck, and if we can get the right grip up off the corner, I think we'll do it. So we'll see what happens here in these last few laps. Don't leave the channel, that's for sure, because it's going to get exciting. You know how truck racing is.
Well, you remember the last time that Jack Sprague had a pole, it was at Daytona. I think we all remember how exciting that finish was. Perhaps something similar here today.
Tony mentioned the points. He thinks Mike Skinner might be out in front. Well, he's exactly right. A 35-point swing from the start of this race. Now Skinner with a 21-point advantage over Hornaday. But we still have 7 laps to go from Martinsville. We return.
3 and 4 wide racing, combined with speeds of 180 miles per hour, make for the best finishes of the season at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Close quarter racing. They literally get within inches of each other side by side.
Will championship contender Mike Skinner make it a season sweep?
It has been all Mike Skinner leading from the drop of the green flag.
Or can Ford score its first win in the Peach State? Tune in for the setup with Chris Devoda at 12:30 p.m., followed by the green flag. Live, only on Speed.
And coverage starts Saturday, October 27th with qualifying at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, followed by the setup show at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And obviously, we have had phenomenal finishes at Atlanta.
Amazing. Side by side just about every time. You never know coming off turn 4 who's going to win the thing.
And sometimes they don't make it off turn 4.
They crashed all the pieces.
They crash all the way across the start-finish line. It's just the most fun you will ever have watching a race on Speed next Saturday. These guys do amazing things, and they do it 3 and 4 wide.
Officials still cleaning up the racetrack. Let's get you caught up as to what's taken place today. Lap 37. One of the cautions taking place then when the 29 of Scott Lynch gets turned around.
Let's take a look here at lap number 67. Regan Smith and Johnny Benson make contact. Regan makes hard contact, actually knocked him out of the race. Johnny Benson has continued on the lead lap.
Matt Crafton dives down on the inside of Jason Leffler and just hooks him in the left rear and spins him around. Jason's spun around a few times today.
Lap 108, it was the 41 of Dario Franchitti getting a little help from the 18 of Dennis Setzer. He gets spun around, turned around, catches the 75 of Clay Rogers in that one on lap 108.
Here we are on lap number 145. The 50 of Colin Brown makes hard contact in his first ever Truck Series start in turn 1.
And I thought that was the hardest hit you could have at Martinsville. Well, since then we've had worse, and this is one of them. Watch Jock Villeneuve get turned into the inside wall, hard into the inside wall.
Shorten that truck up quite a bit. Then on lap 167, Another two-truck incident, the 51, Kyle Busch getting turned around and collecting the 59. Those two had made some contact on the racetrack earlier as well.
Here we are at lap number 176. See the 8 of Travis Nasro get turned around here.
And now
a little innocent spin.
Another innocent spin. I mean, if you can call 4 trucks all wadded up innocent.
Synchronized spinning, and then the most recent caution turn to red flag was right here. And we'll let you take a look at what takes place here with the 07. He gets turned around, stopped on the racetrack, and then the 09 comes in. And big contact there. Debris all over the front stretch.
Phil, that's why I said that the spin before this was kind of innocent. This is serious stuff here.
Sure was. And, you know, as many trucks as we collected in this incident, there are a lot of guys that did a nice job. Johnny Benson right there in front of Dennis Setzer did a nice job. Got sideways, but was able to make his way through here. There comes Jason Leffler. He actually makes contact with 2 different trucks.
Now watch this. Look how this thing develops. A couple guys get together. You think maybe you're not going to get hit anymore, but bam, you get it again and again. I know Tim Sauter thought, when will this wreck ever end?
Engines are fired up. Adam Alexander, I believe you've caught up with the driver of the 07.
And indeed I have. Tim Sauter just telling me it's got to be one of the hardest hits ever here at Martinsville. So you've seen several replays. You lived it real. What happened on the racetrack, Tim?
Just handed for the Lester Building Chevrolet and Green Light Racing. We had a really good truck today. Kind of babying the brakes, trying to keep it under me. Not a lot of give and take out there. And the 6 got into me and the 30 was into him. And I don't think the 30 lifted, and he pushed the 6 and just kept pushing and got us. So, you know, and then everybody just piled in after that. So just another one of them days.
A hard luck season for Tim Sauter. The good news is he's walked from the infield care center, and he will race again next week at Atlanta.
Great to see Tim Sauter able to walk around and talk to Adam like that. Several trucks are on pit road right now. We're getting a report from NASCAR that they actually pulled up to pit, which you're not allowed to do. There's the 30 of Top 09, and they're being held 1 lap because of doing that. The 99, I think, Eric Darnell, the 1 of Jason Leffler, possibly the 29 of Scott Lynch, all being held 1 lap because they pulled up to the pace truck to pit. They have to remain in line till they get the entrance to pit road, and apparently they didn't do that.
Yeah, and that's the rule that's been a part of NASCAR since the history of the world. You know, you can't pull up to pit. In a lot of short track racing, they let you drive up to the pace car before you come to pit road, but not NASCAR, and that's a lap penalty if you do so. Some of those guys had damage. They don't really care about the 1 lap penalty. They're just trying to get in there and see if they can fix their truck.
When they cross the start-finish line, it's 4 laps of racing to go. Mike Skinner in front of Jack Sprague, Matt Crafton, Rick Crawford, and Ron Hornaday. When they come back by, they will receive the green flag. It will be 3 laps of racing from Martinsville to determine our fall winner from Martinsville Speedway.
I think this restart is what's really critical here. If Mike Skinner can get a good, clean restart, establish the bottom of the racetrack, keep the 60 behind him, then he's got a great chance, unless the 60 decides to knock him out of the way.
Well, when the 5 takes the green flag, let's just make a note in our minds. He's got a 21-point lead. Let's see how these next 2 miles, 4 laps, change the complexion of the points battle. You know Hornaday's going to try to get at some spots to close that gap, and Skinner just wants to hang on to the lead.
Coming out of 4. Green flag back in the air. 3 laps of racing to go from Martinsville.
Look at Ron Hornaday on the outside going for 4th.
Trying to take 4th away from Crawford. He stays on the outside. He gets right on the back bumper of the 88 of Crafton. They're side by side, and here comes Crawford. Makes contact with the 88. It's still Skinner out in front. This time by 2 laps of racing to go.
Watch that Hornaday. He's going for that spot.
He is just willing himself around the outside. You can't pass up there, Phil. We've already said that.
Hornaday on the outside of Crafton. They make contact once again going down the back stretch.
Matt Crafton says, you're not going to get my 3rd place away from me.
Meanwhile, that 5 truck has about 6 truck lanes and has the white flag going at Ron Hornaday and Crafton both sideways.
Inside half a lap. Half a mile to go from Martinsville. The Kroger 200 looks as though it's going to go to Mike Skinner.
Ooh, look at Hornaday.
Wow. Hornaday making the pass on Crafton. Crafton back on the outside. This time by, check in the air. It is Skinner's going to win. They turn in turn number 4. The caution flag will come out for the remainder of the field.
And there's guys driving into that smoke that cannot see anything,
Can't
Phil.
see a thing. Look at Brendan Gaughan. He's going to be the first guy to make it through there, it looks like.
And you have to maintain a reasonable speed, so these guys should be able to keep these positions that they got by driving through that crash. Justin Labonte, the second guy through there.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan moved all the way up to the 11th position. You see Clint Boyer, a lot of damage to that Camping World Chevrolet. There's Matt Crafton. He was the first one that got turned around there over in turn 4.
He's turned around. He's trying to get straightened back out to finish this race.
These guys are trying to get to the start-finish line. They're actually racing to the start-finish line right now.
For position.
It looks like Ricky Bobby.
Meanwhile, Mike Skinner won this race.
How about the finish at the end once again in the short track racing for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series? Skinner wins it. Sprague finishes second. Hornaday will be given third. And so that tightens the points battle back up. It was 21 points, like you said, Michael, when they restarted, and now it's just 11 that separate the two.
And I don't think anybody else in the world could have did what Ron Hornaday did right there. He
drove with the outside.
Drove with his heart.
This is the final vault for Stefan Beletsky.
Father and coach Usten Beletsky looking on.
Whoa.
I've never seen a springboard break like that.
There will be a deduction on the landing.
I'd hate to be responsible for that.
Not the official tools of gymnastics. The official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
He's got the checkered flag in hand, and the celebration underway at Martinsville. A salute to the fans, and why not? You have swept the season races here at this short track. What a wild day, and in the end, you're a winner. Congratulations.
Man, I'll tell you this. Toyota has done so much to help us, and you know, Jack drove us clean. I really owe a lot to Jack. I know he's mad, but he did a good job. He drove us clean, and it'll come back. I'll do the same thing, and hopefully we got the manufacturer's deal wrapped up today. And I can't say enough. I mean, so many people help us, you know, Easy Go, Maui Jim, TaylorMade Golf Clubs, Valvoline, XM, Toyota, TRD, Triad Development, Bill and Gail Davis. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I heard you say more than one time late in the race on the radio, I would love to see Jack Sprague win a race. It's got to be pretty hard when you compete like you do.
It does, and you know, I think if Jack would have been in front of me, there's no way I could have passed him. And I just think the only way he could have passed me is to wreck me, and he was a really good sport. He could have wrecked me, but he didn't, and it'll come back when the shoe's on the other foot. I won't wreck him to win one of these things either.
You're back in front. A quick thought on the championship.
That darn 33's right there. Ron ran an awfully smart race, and you know, him and I talk about it every week. It's like whoever has the worst luck. And you know, on one of the restarts, we had a terrible vibration. When you let off the gas, it started shaking really bad and vibrating. And it just seemed after I ran a couple more restarts, I guess I must not have had it in gear all the way, but it went away.
To Bob Dillner.
Third in the race, second in the championship hunt right now. Ron Hornaday, tell me about the end of that race. It looked crazy.
Oh, no, it was, the whole night was crazy, the whole day, I should say. But Skinner did what he had to do just before that last start. I just told Jack he's going to have to go to the outside because Skinner's stopping us. And about, I was fourth or fifth or whatever. We were already playing bumper tag. And Mike did everything he had to do to stop that train from going. And nobody listened to me to let's go to the outside. And I went to the outside, and it worked. But got a couple spots. I sure hope I didn't mess Matt Crafton up. He's been a big supporter of mine and helped me with this championship. But as tight as we were off the corner, Rick Wynn and the guys, I mean, if we would have came in and made some pit stops, we would have changed the truck around. But we had to fight for what we got. They did a great job in this Camping World Chevrolet. And Skinner won, but we'll take third. It could have been worse.
Guys, the ping pong battle for the championship continues in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Well, you mentioned ping pong. This is them coming out of turn number 4. 3 of them are without question, but then look at the pile up behind them.
Looks like about through 7th, you can count those finishers all the way up to back to Chapin in 7th. But
yeah,
look,
David
this
Starr gets by his teammate Rick Crawford to take over the 4th spot. And there's, you can see the carnage. There's Travis Quapple coming along making head-on contact. Here's the unofficial results. We know that the top 5 are right. And look what a great run it would be for Mike Bliss to finish 6th. Chad Cheffin, 2nd top 10 in a row in 7th.
Dennis Setzer puts another Bobby Hamilton truck in the top 10.
Yeah.
These results are unofficial. In fact, from there down, I'd say it's just a guess.
It really is a guess because NASCAR will review the tape to see where those trucks were at the last loop on the racetrack, and they will use video also.
One thing we know for sure, 21 points with 4 to go. Hornaday wheeled his way around the outside, cut it down to 11 points. He almost spun out on the front straightaway midway through the race, almost spun out on the back straightaway on the last lap, and cut the lead. He just did an awesome job to finish up this race.
Catch your breath, because in 1 week, we're back in Atlanta. It's the Easy Care Vehicle Service Contracts 200, and that is always an unbelievable finish. Mike Skinner in Victory Lane once again at Martinsville.
Want National Geographic Channel in HD? Switch to DirecTV.